Ouray Ice Park. If you're an ice climber, you probably know this little canyon tucked into the southwest corner of Colorado. The combination of steep canyon walls, cold Rocky Mountain winters, and this brilliant sprinkler system make it one of the best places in the U.S. to climb ice. It's also where I met Les and Steve.
So I think if we wrap down the side there,
You can land down there at the snow and then come up. Makes it the left side of that pillar.
sweet.
While the ice park is a perfectly good destination on its own, their real focus here is a little bigger. It's called Stairway to Heaven. For non-climbers, the stairway part is probably the most resonant. But if you're an ice climber, this is about as close to heaven as it gets.
We got up at 4 o'clock this morning. Beautiful, clear skies, and took about a 2-hour trip out here into this nice cold basin.
I enjoy climbing with Les. He's a good, solid guy. Doesn't yell at me too much. I think he takes me along because I'm bigger, and if he falls through the crack, hopefully I'll catch him. But I have a good time climbing with him. He knows what's going on, and we seem to climb fairly well together, even if I'm old and slow. But
First pitch looks like all right.
Eric,
And the second pitch is the steep guy.
so you can either go far to the left, or I wonder if right above that pillar, looks like there's maybe a little corner there.
Yeah,
Wonder what's in that.
a little bit of mix too. Looks like a little rock
Yeah.
band right in there.
Once you're into the last one, you're in it until you're done, because there's no way out till you get to the top. All right, lead on.
I'm excited. I'll be excited to see it from the base of the climb because it looks pretty steep in parts, and I want to see it face up from the base. So I'm excited. This is gonna be a big climb, a super big climb. Should be fun. The challenges of this climb today are going to be just seeing what condition the ice is in, how steep it is, how fat it is, how much there is, and it looks like, we took a visual yesterday of it, it looks like it should be pretty solid. So there's not going to be a lot of chandelier ice or ice that's loose, if you will. So it looks like it should be pretty stable. The classic risk for this climb is the avalanche danger from the top sliding off. We have a sling of draws.
Yep.
And what we could very easily do is just pass those back and forth. And if I have a sling that I come up with that I stack the screws on,
Yeah.
then when I'm up there, I can just grab them and go.
Okay.
So we've just come up through a
Yep.
pretty steep section of snow, about 10,000 feet is where we're at right here. And the climb's right in front of us now, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty sweet, steep section with some fun little curtains and so forth. We got an early start, but there's still 2 guys that came on the left side of us, and they'll look pretty fast. It's a guided party, so hopefully they'll cruise on up and get out of our way. Another group's coming up behind us of 4, so we have the route we wanted, which means that we left exactly on time. If we left half hour later, we'd be waiting in line. So That looks really sweet and super steep and fairly fragile, which is all beautiful.
All those things that lead to thrash and dangles.
Thrash and dangles. First pitch is steep ice, then it's a shelf where it's not nearly as steep. Then we get to a steep pitch again, it looks like, and then above that another shelf, and then a couple pitches, it looks like, of kind of mixed grade, some hard, some easy, up to the very top, 1,000 feet above. I wanted to climb this icicle that looked pretty fragile. Every swing, I felt like it was gonna break. So I tried not to swing and just to hook as much as I possibly could on it. This thing was just hanging there. Pretty big chunk. It then broke off and I was watching it, so fortunately it didn't hit me and I was out of the way of it. But it was a big bash. It was a big hit. Probably if I had really swung hard, the whole thing would have come down and I wouldn't have liked that too much.
Ooh, it's right here.
Ice screws hold okay when you have ideal ice, when you have great conditions and when it's solid. If you have soft ice or it starts melting out, ice screws won't hold then as well, obviously, because the ice is soft. We take great pains to avoid falling as much as we can, because if you do fall on it, it will actually bend the ice screw to some degree, such that it won't be useful again, because they need to be perfect to actually make that perfect entry into the ice.
Well, here we are standing at about, 450 feet up off the initial climb, on a ledge about 2 feet wide, anchored to a tree. Put in more screws than I thought I was going to need to, but I chickened out, I guess, and kind of waiting for the lead climbers ahead of us to get out of the way. They're raining ice and junk down on us. Maybe another 10-15 minutes we'll be able to finish up.
There's some really good ice to your left if you want it.
Go left, dude. Hey, go way left.
I don't go to the mountains to put myself in harm's way. I go for the very spiritual experience that it is to me. I go for the beauty and the friendships and the fun and the athleticism that is involved. I don't go to be harmed, and I want to take every precaution I can to live safely, but also in the presence of risk, because that's real. A friend of mine and I decided to climb Mount Jefferson. We got up onto this shelf of snow about a foot wide, and we traversed about 500 feet around the face of the mountain. But I thought that if we went up about 100 feet, we could get to a shelf. So I went for it, but there was nothing there, just loose rock, nothing to anchor to. And I realized that I had to down climb this very sketchy piece that I just climbed up. Climbing down, it was pretty scary. But obviously I made it, got down to the ledge, traversed back across, and got to stable ground where we sat down to kind of recollect ourselves. It was probably about 10 minutes after we had gotten off of the rocks when we watched this rock fall from the summit onto the field that we had just been on. And the whole section of rocks that we'd just been on slid off the mountain. Certainly if I had been on there 10 minutes later, there's no way I could have made it through, or him for that matter. The moment I watched it, indeed, it hit me that for whatever reason, I am not supposed to be dead right now. I have something left to accomplish, I suppose. And it gave me a very strong sense that I need to be very intentional in what I do because I still have a purpose. I still have something that I believe God is calling me to do.
It's about a 200-foot pitch. I'm going to climb about half or 2/3 of it because the upper part looks like something Les needs to do.
Thinking about years to come, future projects, I think this certainly gives a great perspective for me to say, hey, we could look at some bigger climbs, but I like just being out here. So to me, it's not about being the biggest, hardest climber. It's about being out. It's about being in the backcountry. It's about seeing this incredible place and just loving it. Top of the climb.
It's an excellent climb. I enjoyed it.
Woo! We're gonna come straight down and look. It's attached to me. And then I don't know if you can see the ground down there. It's way down there. It was awesome. Great climb. Huge climb. Good hard ice in the middle sections. Even the beginning pitch was pretty hard, and the final pitch was hard. Great, a lot of stuff coming down, but man, it was fun, beautiful scenery. Just a great day. You good there?
Yeah.
All right, over the edge, see where we are. This was the hardest long climb I've ever done.
There was a couple of pitches I was a little worried about, and as we got there, they were hard, but we made it through them. It's an excellent climb.
I would say that probably the best thing for me about today was just the absolute beauty